Utah have hundreds of tickets. You have been rolled by America's teens. Now, in response, the president's campaign said they take this sort of thing into account. They were not trolled. Instead, they blame the media and coronavirus for scaring people away. Lindsay, why do you think people didn't show up? Do you think it's because of teen activism, or do you think it's because people are scared to go in a big indoor arena with some people that won't be wearing masks?
I think that coronavirus is rampant. You see that it spiked all over the country, and Tulsa was one of the cities that it spiked in even before the rally. So that's one reason. And if these activists did buy up the tickets, or people just didn't show up, I don't know, because I know a lot of people had feelings about the fact that he was doing a rally the day after Juneteenth and was not planning on addressing the race riots that happened in Tulsa in 1921, which is a huge race issue, and we're in the middle of racial tensions in this country. So it just seemed like a misstep there, and I don't know why. Other than those two reasons, people wouldn't attend. Those are pretty big reasons.
Yeah, I think Lindsay brings up a very important point, Jeff. Tulsa, 1921, that massacre, Black Wall Street. For him to schedule that right on or around Juneteenth is very insensitive, and for not to even address it, I think that controversy led to all of this as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't want to get too far down this rabbit hole. Lindsay hit it right on the head. I think she spoke for what I was about to say. But as far as the TikTok people go and the trolling him, come on, man. Are we going to stick to this story, or are people really concerned about their health and COVID and things like that?
I think it's all of the above.
I think it is too. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't take social credit yet, youngsters, for not having people there.
Got it. All right. Well, Lindsay brought up coronavirus and all the cases that have been spiking around the world. In fact, the World Health Organization said a record of more than 183,000 new cases were reported yesterday. Here in the U.S., more than half the country has seen coronavirus cases go up over the past 2 weeks, with cases spiking in the South and West. And check out this scene, okay? Look, in Orlando, Florida, this elderly man tried to push and shove his way into a Walmart, no mask. Okay, he even falls down at one point. An employee tried to prevent him from coming in, and the two continued to struggle, with the employee pushing him back. Finally, the man was forced to leave. So with more and more of the country entering phase 2 of the reopening and people returning to bars, to restaurants, there are news now that COVID cases are spiking in younger people in their 20s and 30s. That is according to the CDC. Lindsay, do you believe that the young people are going to be the ones that fuel this second wave? And what do you make of the employees having to be the ones at the front line? They're not supposed to be security guards.
Well, that wasn't a young man running in that store, so really it's just people who are adamant about not following rules that are really just keeping us all safe. I don't get it. But I do understand the cameraman crying, laughing, because that is really ridiculous that somebody also has to take on the task of pushing people out of the store who are not following directions, as opposed to just manning the door like he was trying to do, or working as a clerk in the store. It's crazy that people don't understand this is a marathon, this is not a race. So we'll probably be dealing with coronavirus well into 2021. So just wear the mask, bring the hand sanitizer, like, please, people,
or
just keep everybody
the rules,
safe.
Right, Jeff? If the store says no shoes, no shirt, no service, and and you have to wear a mask, you got to follow the rules. It's not your store, it's their store. Then go somewhere else.
Like the fact that they're like, you're taking away my civil liberties because you don't want to put a mask on. I put on a mask just so I don't get mocked. Obviously, it's for the disease too, but just follow rules. You know what I mean? It's like, man, it doesn't, it's not against the law to wave at somebody if you let them in your lane.
Courtesy waves?
Yeah, you got to give that wave. Return your shopping carts. It's just social things that you have to do. It drives me crazy how so many people just want to ignore this.
Not doing a courtesy wave is at the top of my list.
I mean, I could keep going.
I know you could. I know. This next story I really want to get to because it is very disturbing. A noose was found yesterday at a NASCAR event at Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama. It was in the garage stall for NASCAR's only black driver, Bubba Wallace, who drove in a car with Black Lives Matter painted on it. Wallace had pushed NASCAR to ban the Confederate flag at its events, which did happen. Now NASCAR is promising an immediate investigation to find whoever is responsible for the noose. And NASCAR said in a statement, quote, "As we have stated unequivocally, there is no place for racism in NASCAR, and this act only strengthens our resolve to make the sport open and welcoming to all." Now, Wallace has also responded, saying today's despicable act of racism and hatred leaves me incredibly saddened and serves as a painful reminder of how much further we have to go as a society and how persistent we must be in the fight against racism. He goes on to say, quote, "This will not break me. I will not give in, nor will I back down. I will continue to proudly stand for what I believe in." Lindsay, when you heard this story this morning, what did you make of it?
I think it was disgusting. I mean, Bubba is the only black driver in the top racing series, and so I think a week or a couple days after the NASCAR has banned the Confederate flag inside their stadium, you saw a lot of protests outside of that stadium also, people who just wanted to remember that racist flag, and just really, it's associated with so much white supremacy and things in our history that stand for the same thing as the noose. And so I don't really understand why everybody is holding on to this so dearly and so tightly when they claim to be people that want to move forward and make equality. That doesn't really make sense. So I'm happy that NASCAR is standing up. I'm happy the Justice Department is getting involved. I hope local police take it seriously and charge whoever did this, because to me that's a hate crime.
Yeah, I agree. And you brought up local community efforts. In March, for the most part, local governments are the ones that are in charge with whether or not they can remove or not remove racist monuments or symbols or names of their town. We just saw it right here in Colorado with Stapleton, named after a former KKK member. That is being changed. So because it is now at the local community level, you yourself have a voice. You can take actionable steps. You can go to the local town hall meetings, the local, what am I trying to say? Not my girlfriend Martine was the mayor.
The mayor?
Yeah, not the mayor, but the whole commission. What do you call that, Lindsay? Please help me.
You're looking right at me, Lindsay, help us.
I know, I'm looking at Jeff, but I want Lindsay to chime in.
I got nothing.
Yeah, the city council. Thank you very much, producers.
Oh,
I want to be
okay.
specific because that's what you need to do. Go, it's open. You can go, you can lend a voice, go to your city council and make your voice be heard, because you do have a voice when it comes to taking down these very racist symbols.
Yeah, and I think you said it all. Also, I think NASCAR has to rally around Bubba Wallace.
Good for them.
Yeah, I like the statement they put out, but I'm saying other drivers, other teams, if they know anything of who put that in there, that's poisoning their sport, okay? And we're trying to move to a whole new era. I know the South, I'm not saying anything. There's a stigma that involved the South. Whatever, I'm not even going to go there, but I think NASCAR needs to rally around Bubba Wallace. And by the way, that picture, I don't know, is badass. He's wearing the American flag with the I Can't Breathe shirt in front of his car. That symbol is America to me.
Beautiful. Yeah, well said. So Elian Gonzalez had some surprising news for Father's Day. In case you didn't know, Elian Gonzalez was a Cuban boy who was found in 1999 at the age of 5, clinging to an inner tube. I'm sure you all remember the footage off the coast of Florida after a boat with his mother and 9 others capsized. His custody case sparked a ton of media coverage at the time. Yesterday, Gonzalez announced on Facebook that he will soon become a father too. He said his own father was his inspiration. His dad famously brought him back from the U.S. to Cuba after winning a custody case. I remember this all over the news. Oh my gosh, to me, I still see him as a young boy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Isn't that interesting?
When I saw that picture, it brought me right back. And then I was like, wait, I want to see a picture of him now, though, all grown up. But good, what a story right around Father's Day, too, you know?
It is. And Lindsay, definitely a victory story when it comes to just assimilation in America and the diversity in America, the melting pot that it is.
Yeah, I'm just happy to see a happy ending, like for him in some ways, because I know we all were wrapped in his story as a child, and he didn't have a normal childhood by many standards. So this is a good thing to hear, and we all were wondering like kind of what happened to him. So this is great.
I love it. We all need it too right now. We'll be right back.
That's what I have to do. I'm broke.
So this next story is trending everywhere. You all have something to say about it. Justin Bieber has been accused of sexual assault by a woman who tweeted about the alleged encounter on Saturday. She claimed the assault happened on March 9th in 2014 at the Four Seasons Hotel in Austin, Texas. Bieber has denied the accusations in a series of tweets saying, quote, "I want to be clear. There is not truth to the story. In fact, as I will soon show, I was never present at that location." Bieber then tweeted he stayed with Selena, his girlfriend at the time, and friends at an Airbnb on the 9th, and on the 10th, he stayed at a Westin. The singer also posted receipts, which he says are from the Westin Hotel on the 10th, not the Four Seasons. He also posted these photos, which says clearly it shows him on stage with his assistant and then on the streets of Austin on the 9th with Selena. Another woman also accused Bieber of sexual assault, but that accusation has reportedly been taken down. Lindsay, what do you make of these recent allegations in regard to Justin Bieber? And then also I want to hear your opinion on his response.
I like that he responded saying first, I think his first tweet said that, you know, every claim of sexual abuse should be taken very seriously, which is important, I think, because we've seen other people get accused and immediately just make the person out to be a liar. And so he's saying that he has facts to back up his statements, and I think that's important, and he can exonerate himself in that way. And I think that if the person is lying, then we have to first listen to their story and shame on them for doing that, because there are a lot of women who speak out that don't get believed for this reason. But, you know, hopefully it all ends well, and he has the receipts that he's showing.
Jeff?
Yeah, and I like where you're going with that, but I say more than shame on them, because you can't just come out and accuse somebody of something and then they have to go through all this rigmarole to prove their innocence. And no matter what, people don't look at the end story. They see the clickbait. Justin Bieber accused of assaulting some woman. They never hear the end of it, whether he was exonerated or not. So this is very dangerous, this call-out culture that we're living in right now. And I think we need to talk a little bit more about it maybe at a later time, because something needs to be done about it.
Yeah, and I just hope people do their due diligence and don't just read headlines, please. And then if something is in investigation or something is in, you got to wait for due process. So I really hope that people don't fall into that trap of just clicking the clickbait. So the 2020 ESPYs were held virtually last night. The awards typically honor the best of the best in sports, but NFL quarterback Russell Wilson kicked off the event honoring the memory of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and Breonna Taylor, and called for social change. Watch.
Our country's work is not anywhere close to done. We need justice. We need true leadership. We need a change, and we need it now. I look at my children, and I pray for a better future, a world where the color of their brown skin doesn't stop them from their calling, from their purpose, from their destiny.
And U.S. women's soccer star Megan Rapinoe and her girlfriend, WNBA player Sue Bird, co-hosted the awards. They encouraged white people to, quote, get uncomfortable and speak out against racism. Lindsay, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Did you watch the ESPYs? What did you make of the speech and also the hosts?
Yeah, I think it's important in sports, being all eyes are on sports. People have nothing to do. It gives you a chance and a platform to say your piece. And I think when we look at stars like Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, several other black athletes, the only difference they have between them and some black people that might have been killed by police are that they played sports and got an opportunity to get out of other situations in their life. And so I think them calling to action and making people look at a lot of people like George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, like humans is important.
Yeah, well said. Well, coming up on DBL, we are speaking to a man who embodies bravery and heroism. You guys, you have to meet Tony Dries. He's a Purple Heart recipient who didn't let a life-changing battle injury get in the way of living a fulfilled life. Do not miss his story. Coming up next.
Could someone be stealing?
And all my life, I knew I was going to be in the Army. I always ran around with G.I. Joes and playing Army or superhero or whatever. That ever since I was a small child, that was I knew that I was going to go serve.
A real-life superhero. Welcome back to DBL. That was Tony Dries, a Purple Heart recipient who survived a deadly bombing during the Gulf War. We shared his incredible story last Veterans Day, but with so many military stories going viral in recent weeks, we wanted to bring him back to get his insight. Earlier, Al caught up with Tony for today's DBL Spotlight. But first, a warning that some viewers might find images in this interview disturbing.
Tony, welcome back to DBL.
Hi, Al. Thanks for having me on.
With everything going on in the country, you are a black man. I'm sure a lot of people want to know, are you still a proud veteran?
Absolutely. I'm a black man first and a proud veteran. Absolutely, always. Always. You guys met me talking about my story as a Gulf War veteran. I was injured February 25th, 1991. And right in my face on my hospital black and white TV, they showed the beating of Rodney King.
I can't imagine what that must have been like for you as you're sitting there mortally wounded in a bed fighting for a country that's doing that to somebody that looks just like you. Can you walk us through those feelings?
Al, I was so overcome with emotion. I remember being paralyzed. I felt catatonic with fear. How? I thought this whole world, I was like, no, this can't be true.
There was a photo of a Marine that went viral. He was in Utah and he stood with the words, "I can't breathe," taped across his mouth. He stood for hours and he was in his Marine uniform. People say that when you're in uniform, you should not pick a political side. How do you feel about that?
That's an interesting thing. Every time you see me, I'm wearing my Purple Heart hat. So as it is, that's the uniform. I'm in uniform. I'm a veteran. It is my fiduciary duty as a veteran, not only to speak with my voting voice, but to speak with my life of experience. Who else knows the perils of war? Who else knows what can happen if we don't speak to each other respectfully and find some common ground? And so if we don't speak out, shame on us. Whose children are they going to send?
Especially in our country, is changing with the Black Lives Matter movement. And a lot of that movement is focused on getting a change in policing and to a little bit lesser extent in the military, but it's mostly focused on policing. Do you think that the Black Lives Matter movement will have an impact on policing?
Absolutely. By restructuring, it allows us to attract to these institutions the real best of the best of color and of all colors. None of us know how to navigate this. We don't know. We've never done it before. We've never even tried this before at this scale. So we should all be scared. Good. That means it's important to us. And then let's do it together instead of pulling everything that's come in my life that other people would describe as awful, horrific, impossible. All these things, they've all been the next liberator to my evolution.
Tony, you always make it a point to be part of change in this country. So with that being said, tell us more about your work with Move United Sports.
You know, I've been into athletics as a way of healing. And I did know, but I didn't know to the level, it's also a way of inclusion. And so I found this organization throughout my travels, and it's Move United Sports. It's Disabled USA and Adaptive Sports USA combined to be Move United. We have a three-pillared mission of seeking school-age children with disabilities, veterans with disabilities, injuries, or illnesses, exposing them to sports, showing them the power of sports. Now, since Black Lives Matter, taking the stuff that I love doing, which is sports, and making sure that I have a focus on Black lives. So our three-pillared mission is the same for people of color.
You are a motivation in my life, and you will forever be. And just seeing the impact that you are having on people's lives and are still having moving forward is a true inspiration. We love you, brother, and we want you to stay strong out there and stay safe. You promise?
I promise, man.
DBL Nation, that's Tony. We'll be back.
Promotional consideration is
Welcome back to DBL. I think we could all use a little energy boost this morning. I need it, especially on a Monday. So we're going to share some brain-boosting beverages in today's Rise and Thrive, sponsored by So Clean. Number one, you can try some lemon water. Drinking this in the morning helps with your digestion and skin health. Also, lemons are packed with potassium, which allows more oxygen to reach the brain. Berry smoothies are another great energizer. They're packed with antioxidants, which flood our bodies with nutrients that help fight fatigue. And lastly, hot cocoa. Did you know that? The key ingredient actually helps preserve and improve cognitive functions like memory or attention. It's a great kickstarter in the morning. Just make sure it's at least 70% cocoa. So for ways to rest easy, go to SoClean.com or call 1-800-227-5681. Quickly, hot cocoa make you tired?
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Thank you, Lindsay.